It's starting to get good here. We're getting into the end game of the intermediate level. If you're at this point, there's a funny stage that I think a lot of guys get into when they've started to get some experience, or maybe they had good experience before they got into this. And I remember for me, this was pretty much right after I broke up with my long-term relationship, started going out, started getting some makeouts. And at first, this is really cool. You're going out, you're making out with these girls you just met and having long conversations, and your friends see it and they think, holy shit, you're so fucking cool. You can just make out with these girls. You never even met them before. I could never do that. You must be getting laid all the time. The problem is you aren't getting laid. You can get to the approach is going well, especially after some of the things we talked about. Hopefully that's helping out. The mid-game's going well. You start verbalizing, talking with them, having good conversations, and you're kind of even moving things forward. But then when it comes down to leaving with them, or you get them home and you can't seal the deal, that sucks, doesn't it? Getting to level 9 and then losing it there. So what we're going to do is get into some more concepts that are going to reinforce that end, make it smoother towards the end, making you a better leader, and helping you out with things like still ejecting too early, and just getting that end game solid, making you that sex-worthy man, and getting you up into the advanced reason where you're pulling more consistently. My favorite new little concept that I created, that's maybe why it's my favorite, is the concept of the spinning plates analogy. So we finished up verbal game before, and if you're a beginner and you're just watching this to get a little flavor for the intermediate level, or no matter what level you're at, a lot of times what happens is maybe you're just not in the flow yet at the beginning of the night. Guys, what do? They eject early. So whenever you leave the set before she decided to leave, or you didn't end up hooking up with her, there's a multitude of different reasons why you might leave. I think if you're pretty new to this, you're leaving just because it's a new experience. You've never talked to a complete stranger for 20 or 30 minutes. So you kind of just freak out because you don't know what to expect. So you just ditch out. And that's cool. You run out of things to say. So on a good note, you just leave. I think that's the big one. You leave on a good note because you're trying to protect your ego. So you leave it well and you think, oh, that was a good set. Yeah, good for you, bro. And I think that's all right when you're starting off, but you want to start pushing it and sticking in there, just getting outside your comfort zone to stay in the interaction longer and to start moving forward towards hooking up with these girls. And I think the analogy that I really like using is the concept of spinning plates. So when I go in, especially at the intermediate level here, advanced level, what is my goal at the beginning? Boom, value. So I'm slapping that bitch in the face with value. That gets the plate start spinning. So the plate is spinning. And the cool thing is you're thinking in your head, things are going well. A lot of times you go in really well, the reaction is good, and you're flowing. And all of a sudden you feel in the back of your head this idea, something is creeping in, and it's moving towards the front of your brain. And that black cloud is the moment of where you are going to run out of things to say, and you're going to go in your head, and it's about to get awkward. And what happens is you start feeling it, but before it coalesces into this cogent thought, she hasn't felt it yet. So the concept of whatever you feel, she feels is still there, but there is a lag time. So because you haven't felt it yet, she's still rolling off of that motion there, and she's having fun, it's going well. And what happens is usually for guys is once they feel that come to the front, that's when they eject. So they think, so they say to her, oh, sorry, well, it was nice meeting you, well, give me your number, or whatever their excuse is to leave. At that moment, what I want you to start doing, instead of leaving, that's the moment to lead. Be leading instead of leaving. And what it is on one level, when you're there where you just approach the girl and you're in one spot, it kind of, no matter what, it's going to stagnate. You're just in a static location, and you have things to talk about, but you're in the same environment, and nothing really happens. You haven't really conveyed yourself as a leader. Maybe you led the rhythm a little bit and you led the way the conversation's going, but you really haven't been leading that girl around. So this is, as I said in the beginner's guide, I don't talk a lot about physicality, but what I do think is more important than anything is leading. So this is the time to lead, right? So what you do is when that thought comes in, the plate is basically starting to falter. And at that moment, it's time to grab her by the hand and say, hey, let's go over here. Boom. Where do you go? I don't know, it doesn't matter. Let's go meet my friends. Let's go get a drink. I'm willing to spend $5 on a drink to get that girl to lead her. I would, if I have an opportunity to show her that I'm a leader, I'm willing to take it. So many guys, we get to the bar, I'm there with the student, and the student asks me, he's freaking out, do I buy her a drink? What do I do? Do I buy her a drink? Is it supplicating? If you're going up and you are coming from a low value frame and you're trying to like give her a boon so she talks to you, of course then it's bad to buy her a drink. But if you've been talking to this girl for 20 minutes and she's enjoying the conversation, like I said, I want to convey myself as a leader, so I'm willing to go over there and get a drink just to solidify the interaction and move her to a different place. It's an excuse to move her somewhere, and I'm probably going to get a drink at that point anyways. But it doesn't need to be the bar. You can just go say, hey, we're going to the bar, and then you just stand by the bar. You could say, hey, we're going to meet my friends, and you're there by yourself, and you just take her into some dark corner away from everyone. It doesn't matter what the situation. Hey, let's go. It's quiet over here. Let's go sit on the couches. Any of those different excuses to get her moving, start moving. The guys that I know the best, my mentors in this game, and the guys that I go out with all the time that are pulling the most, they lead more than anyone else. They're moving the girls over here, they're moving them over there, and as you get this, you're basically greasing the gears for at the end stages. When it is time to leave, she's already followed you everywhere else, so she's totally cool with leaving with you. And that's the problem for guys. If you're there and you're talking to her in the same spot for an hour, hour and a half, and then you go to leave, or you're trying to pull her home, of course it's going to be a big leap. It's going to be a big step because you haven't greased those gears earlier in the night by using that spinning plate. So I'm thinking every time that plate starts faltering, boom, time to lead. Boom, time to lead. And what's cool is when you're in a new environment, you move her to the dark corner, or you move her to the bar. There's new people around, it's a new environment, and a lot of times new conversation just bubbles up. When I see a lot of guys at the intermediate level, usually one feedback that I'll have to give pretty regularly is to chill back on the physicality. I think most guys are more physical than they need to be once they're comfortable with it. Again, I want to reiterate for the newbie, if you haven't hugged a lot of girls and gotten physical and picked girls up and spun them around and all that, you need to go through the process of doing that and getting comfortable with that. But once you reach a certain point, most guys, they do it because it pumps their own state. And I definitely agree that getting physical, you pick some girl up, spin her around, get a make out, you're going to feel really good. But you want to watch out and not fall into that reaction-seeking frame where you're getting physical, one, to get a reaction from her, but two, just to pump your own state by doing these things. It's a slippery slope. And a lot of times what happens is the sexual tension fades because you're too busy, you're doing so much in the club that there's nothing to even think about when you go home because you're already getting so sexual and everything. And I think the problem that most guys have when they get too physical is because they don't know what it conveys. I talked about in the newbie section again about the 1 minute rule. You have the hug, you hug her within the first minute. For me, that's enough. If I do that, I've crossed the barrier from this is an intimate situation. I'm comfortable touching a girl. And from there, my physicality, I'm happy with conveying that. And then the other thing that I think physicality conveys, I think there's a tipping point that you reach at the makeout. So the makeout point in the interaction is a very distinct point for me. Pre-makeout, the only thing my physicality is conveying is leading. Too many times guys get screwed up here and they're trying to turn the girl on and do all these different things, and they're just getting physical to get physical, run the train, and they don't even know why. And they don't know that all that you want to be doing is leading. So I talked about the spinning plates. A great way to lead is grab her by the hand. And now you're leading around. You're getting physical in that way too. It's loud, so you use the loudness. Hey, what was that? I can't hear you. Lead. You're leading here, you're leading there. And use this leading as an excuse. And that's the only reason I'm getting physical. In situations where I can't get physical, let's say I'm at a bookstore or it's on the street, as long as you're leading the conversation, you're still conveying those same qualities. So you don't need to actually physically grab her by the hand and lead her around. Although you can, it's just like it happens a lot slower in those sorts of environments compared to on the dance floor when you're going to be leading really quickly. I always assume for any sort of physicality, I want to do it away from the friends, just so she doesn't have a lot of social pressure. So it's a lot easier to lead her into a spot 50 feet away from her friends and then going for things like the kiss or even getting the number or leaving with her. All these things are going to be a lot easier when she doesn't have her friends staring her down. So get comfortable with that too. Once I do get the kiss, then yes, I actually am trying to turn her on a little bit more. I want to give her the preview, I call it. Give her a little preview of what's going to happen when we get home. As you're getting more experience now, I'm sure at the intermediate level, you're starting to see some of those windows for when the time to escalate, when to move things forward, when to turn on the man-to-woman frame, and take the girl home. That pulling time, you see it in her eyes. It's like time to pull. Those windows and that intuition start kicking in, and you start understanding that. And that's only going to continue to get better and better as you get more experience. But what I want you to think about is not so much always waiting for that permission, just like I was talking about in the newbie section. For me, I feel that I'm always putting this pressure on the interaction to keep it moving forward. I'm always moving it forward, and there's always this pressure on it. I talked about before about the modalities of directness, and I'm always trying to it's like I'm mining for gold, and I'm just pushing buttons, trying to see which direction I go. Maybe I talk to some girl, and she's kind of shy, so I go to get physical, and she's a little bit standoffish and not receptive to my physicality. And because, so I think, oh, I'm mining for gold. Oop, didn't work that way. Let me try this way. So maybe with my eye contact and by cutting the space and not getting physical, I can move in even further, more direct way, but I'm not using physicality. So maybe she didn't respond well because she doesn't like getting physical, or maybe her friends are there and she has a boyfriend. She still likes me and she still wants to leave with me, but she can't have her friends see me getting physical with her. So who knows what the reason is. I'm just going to keep that pressure on to always move it forward with whatever level of directness it is there. And as I mentioned those things again, bring them up. I remember back when I used to teach guys about getting into the man-to-woman frame, and what I would do is give them outer game examples of changing the pacing of their voice, or moving more into the pillow talk sort of voice. Maybe with the eye contact, I'll get a little bit more the bedroom eyes with the eye contact. Maybe using sexual misinterpretation. That's a great way to verbally move things into a more intimate man-to-woman frame of misinterpreting things she says in a sexual way, like she's hitting on you. So she might say, oh, I like your shirt. And you'll respond says, oh, really? Yeah, I bet you want to take it off, don't you? Like, who knows? I'm just making shit up in the moment here. But you move it in a sexual direction verbally through humor. So it's a little bit lighter. And I would used to teach all these outer game things, and I think they're good. That's why I'm mentioning them. But the way I've moved things lately is making it more of an inner game thing. And just think to yourself, how would I talk to her if I wanted to hook up with this girl? Like, how would I think? Another analogy that I'll use, at the beginning I was talking about for the newbie, bridging the gap to pretend like it's somebody, like a friend you've met for 6 months. I think a good frame to have for the intermediate level and the man-to-woman is when you see some girl in your head, think about, like, let's say you see this girl and you hooked up with her 6 months ago and you had sex, everything was great, it was fun, and for whatever reason you just never saw her again. When you see her 6 months later and you see her in the club, you know you could get with her, you've already removed that trump card, and you're going to respond to her just with that assumption of like, oh, hey, Sarah, how's it going? Yeah, oh, great, nice to see you again. And there's going to be that subtle assumption, like, you know this is going to happen no matter what. And that's kind of what you want to do. You want to bridge the gap now to where the complete stranger is like the girl that you've been with for 6 months. That's the intermediate headspace that we're going for here. One thing that I think works out really well is something I got from Ryan, one of the old instructors. He talks about baby steps. So when you're at the intermediate level, you're still kind of sending those mixed signals. So it's not like every time you get with a girl, she's going to be super stoked and excited to leave with you, and it's going to be very blunt and obvious about the two of you just leaving and having sex. Let's go home, it's going to be great. Usually she's not going to give you that much compliance right off the bat. So all you need to do is use baby steps. So let's say you have the girl and she doesn't really want to leave with you, and if you just told her, hey, let's go back to my hotel, it's going to be fun, that would be too big of a compliance gap. So what you want to do is you go to her and you say, hey, all right, so we're not going all the way home, but what I want to do, you got to come with me and help me get a taxi. So you go, you grab her by the hand. She's like, okay, I can help you with that. You get to the taxi. Hey, hold on. Just get in the taxi with me. We'll drive to my place, but you're not coming inside. Just come with me over to the taxi. Don't worry. Just get in the taxi. Oh, okay. So she just gets in the taxi. You're in the taxi for a bit. You get to the hotel. Oh, just come out. Just walk me to the elevator. Come on. I'm afraid it's cold out. You can just walk me to the elevator. And you're doing these little compliance. All of a sudden you get to the elevator. Just come up for one drink. We'll just have a drink. That's it. Right? And because you're making the compliance so small, you're getting her to come with you in a very low responsibility type way. The gap isn't so big that she sees it It's kind of like when you tell someone you're like, you can have financial abundance, you can have $1 billion. That's such a big deal to them. They can't even see that happening. It's just like too much. So their head just their eyes glaze over and they think it's a big deal. But if you say, hey, I want to help you make 10,000 this month. And then once you get there, then it's like, let's make 30,000. Let's make 100,000. And then let's make millions and millions of dollars. As you slowly stair step your way there, it fits into the reality much more. So you can use this baby steps to work it out to your advantage. The other big thing, what I mentioned earlier on, is as you get comfortable just being loud and attractive, is the attraction mode is not going to be where your problem is. And as you do that consistently, it's not even going to be the trust part. What it comes down to is the logistics side of things and making sure her logistics are good and your logistics are good. So if I think there's kind of like a little trilogy of things I'll look for here when I'm looking at the girl when it's time to pull her home. So again, usually this happens for me. It's got to be the same night because I'm either on program, I'm on boot camp, I can't meet up with her during the day because I got to work during the day, or I'm in a new city in a day or two anyway. So it's either now or never. So if I'm looking at this girl and this has to happen tonight, the 3 things I look for: 1, is she hot? How hot is she? Number 2, how receptive is she? And number 3, what are the logistics? And I'll kind of use an amalgam of that and mix them together. And maybe if I have 2 or 3 girls, or I'm trying to make the decision if I'm going to leave with this girl, those are the 3 things that I'm going to look at. So 1, I will take a girl if her logistics are perfect. So let's say I go, so here's a great example. How do I ask for logistics? What do I mean by that? The easiest way is to say, hey, what are you up to later? And it's a very benign statement. It doesn't have any loaded meaning behind it. And she'll usually say, oh, well, I'm just out looking for a party. Or, oh, I got to wake up at 8 in the morning. That's obviously not a good one. Or she's the designated driver. Or something that you know that this is unlikely to happen tonight. Or she lives on the other side of town. You're in LA and she lives in Orange County or something like that. You know it's probably time to cut the thread and move on. But thinking about the other 3, well, how receptive is she? If she's all over me and things are going fantastic, maybe because they're going so well, I'll be able to work out logistics. Well, how hot is she? If she's really hot and it's going really well, logistics are probably fuck it, I'm going to try to make this happen anyway. Well, maybe she's really hot, logistics are completely fucked, there's no way in hell this is ever going to happen, and she's only semi into it. Boom, I'm just going to move on and find another girl where the 3 kind of fit up. And then as the night goes on, there's definitely a period we call the wounded gazelle time, which is at the end of the night where you tried your hardest to get with the hotties all night long. And then all of a sudden it's just the end of the night and you're just trying to get something out there. And that's like you shoot the wounded gazelle. I think also for endgame stuff, since we're in this, is the idea of the binary system where you don't look at her beauty so much as like, oh, is she an 8? Is she a 5? Is she a 6? Is she a 2? And you're trying to grade her on the scale of perfect hotness. At the advanced level, we'll talk about getting with hotter women because I think that's a sticking point a lot of guys have when they hit the intermediate advanced level. But at this stage of the game and moving towards hotter girls, I think if you just go binary system, so 1, I'd hook up with her, or 0, I would not hook up with her, and that's it. For me, I go trinary, and I think that's the ultimate kind of advanced level, where 0 is like, no, I would not hook up with her ever. 1, yeah, totally, she's hot enough, I'd hook up with her. And a 2 is where you have like, oh, this girl's so hot, I'm going to be texting all my friends with a picture of her. So the 0, 1, 2 scale, I think that's what works out perfectly. Then you're not like, oh, she's an 8. Oh, she's a 9. Da, 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 da. All these different things. The binary system is where it's at, especially at the intermediate level. So again, what you want to start doing is screening for logistics early, maybe in the first couple minutes. If it's early in the night, I'm just trying to get in the social flow, try to get some momentum. So I'm less aggressive with logistical screening. But if it's 2 a.m. and that place closes at 2 a.m., I'm going to be pretty heavily like, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing? Really quickly to see if I can make this happen right now. I do want to reiterate actually at this point about how at the end of the night, how the game shifts based on when the club closes. So if it's a 2 a.m. club or a 4 a.m. club, that last half hour, it's like the blood is really in the water and I got to make shit happen quick. So I know that I have to screen for that receptivity and the logistics quicker and quicker as the night goes on because my time is diminishing and a lot of the girls that I would normally leave with are already leaving with someone else. So at this stage of the game, Intermediate level, we're moving to advanced. I'm excited. We're moving on, graduating. You've graduated from the intermediate level. I want to give a breakdown of my night and an interaction at this stage of the game. And then what we're going to do is hit the advanced level and look at specific little tweaks, micro tweaks at that level. It's not like you can go from advanced to super advanced. Usually what it is little 1% tweaks that instead of getting a girl every 7 days, you get a girl every 5 days. Which those little 1% end up being, you get a lot more girls and probably a lot hotter girls, and you have even more fun. So we're going to get into some of that in the next section. What I want to do is break down a night real quick. So my goal for the perfect night would be when I get out, I get in there, I get comfortable with the environment. We talked about this at the newbie stage, right? And then I know within 5 to 10 minutes, just at the newbie stage, I'm going to start greasing the claw. And I talked about the reaction time thing. So now I'm just starting to grease the claw, get some reaction going. And while I'm doing that, the two goals, grease the claw and have some fucking fun. And one of the main ways actually is through greasing the claw, you can have a lot of fun. So something that my friend and I did, we were in Rio de Janeiro. And what we would do is we grab girls, grease the claw, pull them in real close. And they'd be super down. They'd love it because it's super masculine and dominant. And we'd look in their eyes and say, "Get away. Get away." And they get super confused because you're holding them in, they're attracted, but you're telling them to get away and they're confused. And probably because they're speaking Portuguese, they don't know we're speaking English, so they're super confused and they just run off. So my friend and I are totally laughing our asses off. Meanwhile, we're also getting our reaction time up. So self-amusement and reaction time. And I'm doing this till about 2 hours before the club closes. So let's say all of a sudden if it closes at 4 a.m., around 1:30ish. Now that claw is greased, my reaction time is good, and I'm starting to look around for the hot girls that I see. Boom, hot girls. Boom. Maybe some of the earlier on ones, I'll go back to those. If I got the number, I might text them a bit, and then hit up those girls. As I mentioned in the approach section, I'm going to want to go in with a very man-to-woman sort of approach and create that vibe from the very beginning. So a lot of physicality, get in direct on the very start, picking her up, pulling her away from the friends, saying, "Hey, you're cute. What's your name?" "Muy guapo." Although it's Espanol, that's not Portuguese. I don't know how to say it in Portuguese. And I'm going to be really physical and man to woman from the very beginning there. Pull her in, get nice and physical, hold that eye contact, and turn that bedroom eyes on from the very beginning. So when we're talking, it's probably going to be a lot less talking than if I was just, "Hey, how's it going? How's your night going?" There's not really that mid-game chat as much in there because it's kind of more the end game. But thinking about the blues guitar analogy and the fact that I'm in the self-amusement frame, I might have a little bit of the, "Yeah, fuck yeah, boom." There's a couple little sparks, little fireworks flying here and there. But mostly it's just me yelling some bullshit, having some fun with it. Really quickly, what I'm going to want to do is screen, and boom, we're leading. "What was that? Hold on, come over here." Boom, let's go to the bar. Oh, what are you up to later? Where do you live? "Oh, that's fantastic. Hold on, let's go over here." Boom, and I'm doing the spinning plates. Getting the spinning plates rocking, check logistics. If they're on my side, move things forward a little bit more. Time to go for the makeout. I talked about in the other section in the newbie's guide, the end game, how going for the makeout is only going to move things forward because either I get it or she turns her cheek and it's like a shit test. So I keep moving things forward, go for it again, go for it again, boom, move things forward to the point where all of a sudden I give her the preview to take her home. I know logistics are on my side. I gave her the preview, and we'll talk about a couple other things in the advanced section. And everything is happy. I've led her. Time to lead her home. Be decisive. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps to get her home. Seal the deal. All right, so what we're going to do now, get into the advanced section, hit on some other things that I've been hinting at, micro tweak some other things. So even if you're a beginner, some of these things would be nice. I don't want you going out and thinking about all this shit, but there are going to be some theories and concepts here that are going to help you out no matter what stage you're at, and I will see you shortly.